Welcome to Oaa Now, your home for Oakland Activities Association news and information. Here's your host, Sammy Taramina.
Welcome to Oaa Now. I'm Sammy Taramina, blogger of the Dragon's Den blog of Inside the OAA, and one of the hosts between Taminas and Orion Neighborhood Television. I'd like to welcome our friends viewing us on YouTube and also on SoundCloud. Yes, SoundCloud. Yep. This week I got Ian Locke back with me again.
What's going on, Sam?
Not much. I don't know why. It's been so dreary, terrible. I mean, I could see why a lot of people are very upset with Mother Nature right now.
Yes. You know, when you go to spring break, you take spring break, you're like, hey, the weather was okay. It was a little chilly.
Where's the weather?
It was 50-some degrees.
Where's the 60 degrees? Instead, we're looking at 30 degrees here and basically flurries and basically ice storms and wind.
Power outages.
Thoughts and prayers to those, especially hard hit south of M59.
Oh, boy, dude, yeah.
Who were hit with the ice outages there. I mean, they're still trying to clean up about it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's about 150,000 still without power.
Yeah.
I was without power.
Yes.
It was, but the crazy thing is, up here in Lake Orion, we dodged it. We were really lucky up
I
here.
couldn't believe it. I really couldn't. But unfortunately, people south of 59, just weren't so lucky.
And the hard bit is a lot of those communities down there, they need their sump pumps to keep their basements dry.
Yeah.
And without the electricity, floods.
It's bad.
It's awful. And with all that rain we had Saturday, how many practices were canceled? Track meets were canceled. Track meets were rescheduled.
Yep.
And
of course, Clarkson and Adams were as one that got moved to into May.
Oh, it did.
It did.
That was the dual meet. That was Friday. Last Friday. They're supposed to do
this Wednesday.
So this Wednesday.
Yeah.
Meaning what's today?
Well, today
we're filming
Tuesday, the 17th. You know what I mean?
So the 18th meet has been moved?
No. That was their meet with Clarkson and Adams.
Okay.
But you know what? You know what the weather forecast is calling for? About 1 inch of snow.
I know. Yes.
I'm upset about that.
I usually say, April, you get one shot at dumping snow on us. And you already had it.
You already had it.
You're out.
You already had it. You're out. Yeah.
Go away.
I'm hoping that, you know what I mean? But, Mother Nature just, I don't know what is her problem. I don't know.
She needs to get her act together. Is what
I agree with you. But this weekend, it's supposed to be high 50s.
Yeah.
60s.
Yes, sunny. And for that works well for the
baseball,
softball tournaments, baseball tournaments.
Track and field invitational. We're going to preview that Oxford Invitational coming weekend. Of course,
that's always a fun one.
That's always going to be really interesting at that tournament.
Yeah, love that.
But let's go to our sports here. Let's break some breaking news there.
Breaking news already.
We got some breaking news. Of course, two of them. Let's go with boys soccer first. Of course, Lake Orion officially has their new boys soccer coach. His name is Chris Korteg.
Yeah. Of
course, Korteg is currently the girls coach of the Lake Orion girls soccer team. Now he takes over the boys soccer team. When I look at this,
you called that one,
and I called this one. Of course, Korteg, well-known athletic director, longtime athletic director, Edgar Eisenhower. Of course, he does bring a ton of experience. He takes over from Matt Pakovich. Of course, Korteg, he brings his well-known name. Of course, he's well coached. He coached out of high school. He coached collegiate and club level. Of course, interesting. Chris Bell, Lake Orion's athletic director, former football coach, said this. He about the hire Korteg. Of course, he said, "quote I've seen the process. Chris and our girls completely reshaping and building that program. We're fortunate Chris is in a place in his life where he has time to dedicate the best of both programs."
Interesting use of words.
Interesting.
He's got the time.
It's good.
Previous coach was running soccer, travel leagues as almost like a full-time gig. So now the coaches for the Lake Orion Dragons are solely focused on the Lake Orion Dragons.
Yep, and Korteg now becomes the face of Lake Orion soccer.
Awesome.
Yep, and Bell had another comment, was very interesting. I'm excited to bring both programs under the same coaching staff. Along with Chris, we have a great soccer staff, and I'm excited for them to work with the boys and the girls. Coach Korteg and I have the same vision, and that is to have soccer programs that do things the right way and win championships. Our kids deserve that.
Yeah.
They do.
And look at the resources we have around here of all of the soccer players.
Mm-hmm.
How many soccer leagues are there? Two, three. Plus you got Rochester. Well, Rochester has one. You got the Varda around here.
Yep.
You got the Troy soccer,
Yep.
which was leaked into Lake Orion. You got Clarkston Soccer League over there. You got Waterford.
There's plenty of resources.
There's lots of places to play, and the number of people they pull in, the guys and the girls, how are these soccer teams not performing better?
Yeah. I think I like this soccer. I really do. I really do.
Yeah.
So it'd be very interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, I actually had a chance to see them in action before the dual meet with who was it? Lake Orion. What was their first dual meet? That was
soccer match. You mean?
No, track.
Oh, track meet.
That was the first home meet. It was Oxford.
Oxford.
So I was waiting around for that the field events to begin, and I snuck over to the soccer field just to get some, see what's going on. And watching the new coach in action with his team was something to see.
Mm-hmm.
It was intense. It was instructive. And you're going, that's a soccer coach.
Yep.
It was really good to see the repetition. It was awesome. So I actually sat and watched practice for, 10, 15 minutes.
That's good.
So we're really excited about the future. And just to update on Lake Orion's women's soccer club, they torched Hazel Park.
Hazel Park's not
10-0.
Hazel Park's not very
just last week.
But the teams to keep an eye on besides Lake Orion in that blue division, no, you got to look at Groves. You got to look at Royal Oak. Those are two teams they got to beat.
Absolutely.
Okay,
basketball.
Let's go. We got more breaking news, though. We got more breaking news. Of course, in boys basketball, Mark West is out at Groves. Of course, West was there at Groves for 3 years after having a successful stint at Madison Heights Bishop Foley. Of course, he has taken a job as an assistant coach at Henry Ford Community College. Of course, West led his teams to when you look at, he led his team to a share of the blue title back in 2017. Led Groves to their first district championship in a long while. Of course, back in 2016, they were finished second behind Hazel Park. Of course, so West is going to be really missed at Groves. And last season, of course, Groves was 10-12 with a 5-9 record in the white last season. So when you look at Groves, they do have a young team this year. But when you look at the direction that Groves was going, I thought they were going up. You know what I mean? And I knew they were going up. So, when you look at you're losing your head coach now, do you think that athletic director Tom Flynn should look in-house when you look at finding their next coach?
Well, it's a common topic, that we've had. I tend to lean, as long as you have somebody that can continue like continuity moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have conflicting styles, or the JV program isn't doing what it needs to do and it's limping along anyway, but the varsity coach seems to have a strong program, then maybe you go outside.
But I think when you look at people leaving, of course, for Mark West, it's a big job opportunity for him. He's still going to teach math at Groves.
Okay.
But when you look at, of course, you're going to Henry Ford Community College, being an assistant there, it's a huge, huge deal. Big deal.
Yeah.
And
that's a big step up for him.
It is. And I think it's going to be very interesting to see how West does. Now a lot of coaches that have been up in the college ranks that not necessarily have worked out for him. Of course, when you look at the situation down in Chelsea, of course, Chelsea just rehired back their head coach.
Really?
After
the Bulldogs?
Yep. So Chelsea just rehired their head coach. Of course, he did have some success, as an assistant. Brought it back down, leading his own program again.
Okay.
So that's a very interesting hire. But when you look at right now, the current vacancies, of course.
Yeah, what are we looking at here?
We're looking at, in the boys' ranks, we got Groves, Ferndale, Hazel Park.
3.
Yep. So when you look at currently with those vacancies, of course, if you had to rank the best jobs in the OA right now.
Boy, I don't know.
Who would it be? If it was me, obviously, I would say, Groves is the best job. Then it's Ferndale, then Hazel Park. Hazel Park, you're completely rebuilding from scratch.
Yeah.
Ferndale, you got talent there.
Mm-hmm.
You got talent there. I still think that team, I still think Ferndale's going to go in-house with their coach. I
Really?
still think so. I really
Okay.
think that they got enough people in that program. I think that can really help that Ferndale team out. I think if you keep the continuity of Tom Staten's staff in play there over there at Ferndale, I
Yeah.
think they're going to be fine. I
Okay.
mean, if you have their assistants, I think are really really good. And then you look at Groves. I still think the same thing. You have to go in house.
Yeah.
You really have to go in house. So
It,
that
it
brings us.
it's so hard to just clean house and start from scratch because you kind of blow up the whole program.
Well, it's very difficult. You know what I mean? When you look at teams that usually blow up the programs, it's very difficult their first year. Really is.
Hmm.
It really is. So that brings me to my next point. Divisions have been released.
Oh boy,
They have
we've
been.
been waiting for this
We've
one.
been waiting for this one. We're gonna go. We're gonna divide them up into. We're gonna go. We're gonna talk girls first. See what
Okay.
your thoughts about them, and then we're gonna go the boys. When I look at the girls basketball divisions, of course, let's go from the blue division to the white and then the red. I mean,
Okay.
I think that'd be a great start. Um, the blue division consists of course, our viewers. I'm going to read these out loud, and here are your official 2018-2019 divisions. Starting with the blue division, you have the Rochester Falcons,
Okay.
you have the Birmingham Seal Maples, the Pontiac Phoenix, the Oak Park Knights, the Ferndale Eagles, the Hazel Park Vikings, and the Berkeley Bears. So that's 7 teams in that division.
Okay.
So when I wrote my thoughts on my blog in this division, this could be, I call the blue division sometimes technically could be like a recovery division for
Yeah.
some teams.
It seems like it is.
It seems like
Yeah.
it is. I mean,
I like that term.
but when you look at Rochester and Seaholm, both those teams had some really tough years. I mean, Rochester, of course, we know they're still looking for a coach right now, but I still think likely it's going to be Jeff Haney coming back and taking over that gig. To what all the rumors I've been hearing.
Okay.
And Rochester's got a program that's built for the future. Their sophomores and freshman classes are really good. So, and then you look at Seaholm. Seaholm, of course, had a really rough year last year, of course, replacing all the talent that left previously. And Seaholm's a team that I think could have a really good bounce back year in this division. And then you look at Berkeley. Berkeley, of course, they were in the blue last year. They got a player back in Olivia DeCaro, who's back. They still got some questions, but I've really criticized that program of playing a soft non-conference.
Yeah.
It's not to the extreme of the boys, but I think if you look at the scheduling, your non-conference scheduling, I think the girls' situation is much worse than the boys' situation. And the reason why I say that non-conference wise is because you are not playing. You're in a district every year with Detroit Renaissance.
Yeah.
And why not play tough? Why not play tough? You toughen up your schedule, you know what I mean, to get yourself ready to play those teams. And I've been very critical of Berkeley for that.
Well, we also had discussion that
this is
maybe
the girls, it's not the boys.
Well, I
yet.
know that, but it's a similar vein that do you play teams that are so tough that it just beats you down that you could lose confidence, especially if it's a young team.
But Berkeley's
you know what I mean?
got a veteran team though coming back.
Okay.
They got a veteran team coming back. So when I look at
if they schedule easy,
schedule easy, they'll
year.
win games, but I think they're not getting any better.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Especially if you have an experienced team, you expect them to
and then, of course,
play a little tougher.
Yep. And then, of course, you look at the other teams. You look at Pontiac. I think Pontiac's got some experience back. Their problem's depth. Oak Park, they got some talent in the guards front, but they don't have a lot of depth. Hazel Park just lost everybody. Ferndale's a complete mess. They're looking for another coach.
Yeah.
I mean, when I look at my early favorite in this division, it's Rochester because they're young talent.
Yeah.
And you look at Seaholm.
Anybody slide down to that?
Well, Rochester and Seaholm came down.
Okay.
Rochester and Seaholm both came down from the white to blue. So
7 teams.
Yeah, there's 7
Odd
teams.
number.
And then it gets interesting because the white division has got 8 teams.
Oh.
Yep. So let's go to the white division. You got
girls white.
Yep. You got Farmington, Avondale, Troy Athens, Troy, West Bloomfield, Oxford, Adams, Lake Orion. That is your teams in the white division. So very interesting.
Yeah.
Well-known coaches in this league, though. Of course, when you look at of course, you have guys like Burt Mosley at West Bloomfield, Mike Griffin at Lake Orion, Rachel Breyer at Oxford, Shea Lewis at Adams, Simon Bono at Troy, Stacy Klump at Troy Athens, Phil Dawson at Avondale, and Laura Goodsman at Farmington. But when I look at this division, heading in, Lake Orion and Adams both come down from the red.
Yeah.
I mean, Lake Orion.
We
talked about
we were
Lake
expecting
Orion.
that.
We were expecting
Yeah.
that. Avondale, Farmington, both coming up from the blue. Of course, they both shared the blue title. But Farmington loses a ton of talent. Avondale returns some talent back, but I don't know where their confidence is after what happened to them against Bloomfield Hills, the way they played in that game. I think that their confidence had to be shot after
You think
that
so?
game. Oh, yeah. I mean, I thought Avondale would be a team. They're very athletic, very talented. They got two very good players in Kiri Lee and Olivia Russell. And you look at and Phil Dawson's done a really nice job with that team. But when the way they lost to Bloomfield Hills, letting them shoot threes after threes after threes, you cannot let that happen. And then you're coming up into a league where I think it could be very interesting for them because you look at a team like West Bloomfield, who's got a lot coming back. You look at Oxford, they've got a lot coming back.
Dangerous, yeah.
Oxford's a dangerous team. You look at Lake Orion, when healthy, dangerous. And then you look at Adams.
Keyword, when healthy.
The keyword is when healthy. You know what I mean? Troy's
that's a kind of an interesting division. I mean, there's some teams that you go, really?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be, I think it's going to be very competitive.
I think so, too. And I mentioned it. It's going to be very competitive. I mean, you look at that division, and you tell me.
Is there a clear leader?
There's not really a clear leader. But early on, and I'm not being a homer on this, but I would have to say when healthy, I would say Lake Orion. I mean, and I put Oxford right there, and then West Bloomfield's right there. Adams is right there. I mean, I think there's a clear top four, but then maybe Avondale, you put them maybe in the fifth spot. And, Troy, Athens 6, 7, Farmington obviously 8. I mean, now Troy's got two very good players back in Emily Olson and Athena Sampson. I mean, Troy Athens, of course, got the Stewart twins and Isabel Crum back. Of course, Maddie Crum is no longer there; she's graduated.
Yeah.
And then Farmington, of course, they're the team that's most interesting to me because they were a team I thought that could stay down in the blue division. I thought that with all the talent they lose.
Yeah.
And
but is that looked at? Is that part of the the metrics to decide who goes where?
Well, I thought that was mentioned a little bit, was Farmington possibly going down, making it a 7, 7, 8 possibly. But instead, Farmington's now in the white division, going to play with some interesting teams.
Yeah.
Of course, it's a good division.
Do you see the white could be like one of those years where everybody just beats up on each other?
I see it happening. I mean, I see it happening. I mean, of course, we did some games this year. Of course, the Lake Orion Oxford game is a perfect example.
Yeah.
If Lake Orion's healthy, they win that game. If you look at Adams, of course, Adams loses two very key players, and of course, Michaela Smith and Noel Dunbar. And if Adams can find a big, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If Adams can find a dominant big, you know what I mean? I think they're going to be very good. Go with their guards, with Petersmark and with Warren Petersmark. But West Bloomfield's got everybody back.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, they got some good players in Maya Bobo. They got Destiny Monroe who can shoot threes. I mean, and then you look at and then of course, as mentioned, Oxford. Of course, you look at players like Emma Van Loon. You look at Ashley Hirschman, and then of course you have the Mentor sisters and Lauren and Mackenzie Mentor. I mean,
and sometimes there's that one JV player you don't know about. And sometimes, like in basketball, I always like basketball because even if you're struggling one year, you could have one new part
that is true
to that team. And
that is true.
It can change the whole course of your team.
I agree with you. It can, but when I look at these teams, when I look at them, when I look at these teams, I think right now Lake Orion has to be the favorite because a little bit, and it's
Interesting.
slight because it's slightly because I think Kendall Robson's gonna have a big year. I really do.
Yeah.
And if it
Well,
comes down to guard play for Lake Orion,
yeah.
it comes down to who is going to be their guard play. And yeah, Peyton Shadiah there, but if you got but if Megan player like Megan Marshall has to have a big year for this team to do
Yeah.
well. And I think
And the hard part of evaluating Lake Orion was the injuries. You go,
yeah,
how good could have they been?
how good could they have been, if they
with
were healthy?
boy? And it always seems like, hey, we're back. No,
And
hey,
it
oh, we're
gives
healthy. No,
and it gives a coach it gives Coach Mike Griffin possibly a chance to experiment more of that 2-3 zone. You know what I mean with that but there are some dangers in that zone though, as
yeah,
mentioned.
yeah.
Of course, ask Michigan State that question.
Oh, God,
But anyway,
had to bring that up.
yep. But anyway, when I look at others, Oxford could be a really dangerous team. West Bloomfield got everybody back. They did give Groves everything, they could handle when they played them early in the year.
Okay.
It was a 68-63 game. Troy, Athens, I would say about even. Avondale, that's a team to keep an eye on. They're athletic, but they're not deep. And then Farmington, of course. Farmington, I think they're going to really struggle in that division.
Okay.
So that's my thoughts on the
That's
white
the
division.
white, yeah.
And let's go to the red for girls. We could split boys, and we'll go to break after we talk girls.
Okay,
And
sounds
then
good.
We'll talk boys.
So what's new in the red?
Of course you have them. Here are the teams that moved up. But let's read the division out. Southfield Arts and Tech, Clarkston, North Farmington, Bloomfield Hills, Stony Creek, Royal Oak, and Groves. That's your new division, the red division. And when I look at this division,
And who moved up again?
Royal Oak and Groves.
Okay. Welcome
look
to
at-
welcome to the big boys.
When I look at this division, I think this is a 2-team race. I think this is between the Warriors of Southfield Arts and Tech
Okay.
and the Ravens of Royal Oak.
Ooh.
And the reason why I'm high on Royal Oak is because they got a senior-heavy team, led, of course, by Jessica Adams and Samantha Potter. But when I look at Southfield Arts and Tech, they are led by, of course, Shia McEvans and, of course, Alexis Johnson.
Okay.
And when I look at the Warriors, they were shockingly a disappointing team to me. You know what I mean? Like when I looked at their loss against Detroit Martin Luther King. Now, Detroit Martin Luther King is a very good team.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just disappointed how they struggled against them. They really, really struggled against them.
And just for reference, who took the red last year?
Of course, Clarkson and Southfield Arts and Tech shared the red.
Okay.
Clarkson, of course, senior heavy last year, went to the state quarterfinals.
Losing a truckload at Clarkson.
A truckload, of course. They lost to a very good Saginaw Heritage team that won a state championship.
Okay.
But Clarkson's got 2 players I think to keep an eye on. Actually, 3. When you look at Lexi Litton, Paige Bossart, and of course their only returning starter in Taylor Heaton. I mean,
Okay.
those are some pieces that Christine Rogers can look forward to. But if they don't have a lot of depth down there, that's going to be a concern for Christine Rogers' team.
Okay.
And when I'm looking at their sub-varsity, I will really, besides their JV team going unbeaten this year, they really don't have a lot in the freshman class. But you never know. This is Clarkston, by the way. This is Clarkston, by the way.
We've stopped underestimating their feeder system.
Yep, we really have.
Because it never seems to let them down in any of the athletic sports.
Yeah, you can tell that their best class is going to be moving on, and they could win a softball state championship.
Yeah, I know.
year,
No kidding.
which is scary. But let's look at North Farmington. They lose Samantha Cherney, their big girl in the middle. They still got 2 players in Molly Simpson and Maya Kelly. Bloomfield Hills, we know about their 3-point shooting and barrage. Of course, they got the bulk of their team is back. I'm a little curious how they're going to replace Becca Hancock. Now they got Jordan Banks back, Mary Machine, and Grace Getz is back for Jeff Rubin's team.
Okay.
I think if it comes down, they're going to be shooting a lot of threes this year over at Bloomfield Hills. Royal Oak, we talked about, as mentioned. Groves is an interesting team. Of course, Jessica Weisler's team. They do lose Shea Carter. They do lose, but they got a couple players back who I think could make some noise for that team. And then, of course, let's talk about one of my favorite teams. the
Yes.
Kellen James Fighting Cougars. We had Kellen James on this podcast a lot. We had Kellen James on the
You
podcast.
did.
We had him on our podcast. So when I look at Stony Creek, I gave Kellen James some grief about his non-conference.
Yes.
Of course, but then again, he played a tough non-conference. So I praise the guy. I praise Kellen James. It's just when you look at that team, Stony Creek, I think they're going to be a little bit better. I think they're going to be better. Of course, you have Emily Eckhart coming back. I'm really looking at their interior game. I mean, I really like their interior inside. I think they're going to do some wonders, but everything's going to flow around Emily Eckhart and their other guard, Megan Solik.
Okay.
And I think if you look at those two players, Megan Solik's a complete pest. She can play.
Those are my favorite players.
She is pesty. You know what I mean? She's basically like a pest that you don't want and a butterfly. It's like if you have like a fly swatter, you might want to just
yeah.
You know what I mean?
But those are my favorite players. The ones that have the heart and the drive, and they're there, and they're just I love those players.
That's what I view Megan Solik. And she's like that pest that you don't want to see.
Good for her.
Besides her, then you have Emily Eckhart there. But I think when you look at Stony Creek, they got some questions. You know what I mean? They got some questions. They're a team to watch. So
cool.
So that's my thoughts. I think South Arson Tech and Royal Oak are the two favorites right now. Keeping an eye on them. North Farmington, Stony Creek, they're a dark horse to keep an eye on as well. So, and I think who's finishing in the bottom, I think Rose is going to be in the bottom this year.
Yeah.
So, and Clarkson maybe middle of the pack team with their youth and inexperience. I think they're gonna have some inexperience up in the varsity level. I really do. So we'll see what happens with them. Okay, now we come back. We're gonna talk about the boys on this cold and damp day here on Oaa Now.
This is Lake Orion's own, the local voice. Call ONTV and get on air 248-393-1060. Let your voice be heard. Internet radio for all. Call ONTV and get on air.
Please remember that CFL bulbs, those curly, energy-efficient light bulbs everybody is using to save electricity, shouldn't be thrown away in your trash. Neither should batteries or home medical sharps. You can check with your local community to see where they can be recycled. Some retailers will allow you to bring them in for recycling. You can also order simple kits online that allow you to collect your recyclables and simply mail them away to be properly recycled. This green tip was brought to you by your friends at Waste Management.
Welcome back to Oaa Now. I'm Sammy Turner with Ian Locke here.
Hey.
Of course, as mentioned, our thoughts and prayers are those who are still currently without power. I'm south of M59.
Man, it's a mess down there. Flooded basements.
Still ice.
Icy. And today, I know we're kind of beating up Mother Nature. She deserves it.
Yep.
But the temperature drop this morning was so steep that, man, the roads were treacherous. There were wrecks all over the place. It was awful. And I'm worried about its impact on sports.
On sports,
man.
It's still causing an impact. Of course, a lot of cancellations still going around.
Yeah.
With baseball,
probably more
softball,
today,
probably more today, tomorrow. So
just
probably Thursday, Friday, and the weekend will be great. We're going to preview the Oxford Invitational coming up.
Cool.
So when you look at but let's go to boys basketball.
Okay.
This is a division where, as mentioned, we talk about the new divisions. Of course, girls basketball. We mentioned them just now, but this is the boys side of things. And this is really interesting how this came afloat.
Any shockers?
We're gonna go over some shockers. I think it was some that was a head scratcher to me, but other than that, they were right exactly where I thought it would be. Of course, the girls division, I thought those would be the divisions originally to start. So here are my divisions. Of course, here are the divisions. Let's go with the blue division. Kind of surprising that Oxford. Kind of surprising that Oxford and Oxford went down to the blue division. But they're in this division. They're with Oxford, Seaholm, Pontiac, Hazel Park, Royal Oak, Harrison, Berkeley, and Ferndale. So the most interesting part of things is Hazel Park went down 2 divisions.
Wow.
They went from the red to the blue. As mentioned, of course, they lost all that talent.
Yeah.
And
That's a big fall.
It is. It really is. Then you look at Oxford. Oxford coming down, of course. There were some games that they should not have lost. And very interesting how that came up. Just basically how the Wildcats are a team that could be they could be an early favorite. And then you look at Ferndale, who I think is an improved team. Pontiac's a team I'm watching very carefully. But, when I look at this division, I mean, obviously what sets up for me is the fact that Oxford's down in this division and they have a lot coming back. Oxford, to me, is in a very similar position as Lake Orion was this season.
Yeah.
They had a really rough year in the white, went down. They went down a division, basically set up the, basically they're in the blue division. Now they're in the blue division now, got a ton of experience back. So when I look at Oxford, this is a team that really, really has some, they got some questions coming in, but they got a ton of experience back. I mean, people say, well, Oxford should run over this division. You know? No.
I mean, paper, you look at
On paper, you look
really?
at it. Really?
Yeah.
Not really. I mean, you got Pontiac there. Pontiac's got a lot back. They're athletic, talented under Coach Josh Schroeder. Then you have Ferndale. Of course, Ferndale, if they can get their coaching situation figured out, they're a team to watch, especially at sophomore class in their not soon-to-be senior class this year.
Okay.
And then, of course, you look at Seaholm. Seaholm's another team, you know what I mean? They're going to be a very young team. And then, of course, Royal Oak's got a lot coming back. Now, a team that I've got questions about is Berkeley.
Okay.
I mean, Berkeley's got a very good freshman to sophomore class coming up. I mean, but what concerns me with this team is this was a program this year. We talked so many times about it, and I think this is very important for Joe Thermal, is you have got to play a tougher schedule than you showed last year, because the reason why you had that nice start is you haven't really played anybody. And then when you got in the league play, when Rochester beat you bad, when Lake Orion beat you bad, I mean, then you had some really bad losses. It kind of really killed you.
Yeah. I mean,
it did.
That's the dead horse we've beaten to a pulp, but it was shocking to see that. It's almost heartbreaking to see that. Man, I was rooting for those guys so hard. This is great, and
Berkeley loses 9 seniors.
Man, see, and that is another. Maybe that's a good thing. Who knows? Maybe the culture was screwy. Chemistry on the team. Maybe that was screwy. Who knows?
Well, it'll be very interesting to see. That's a team I'm watching.
Absolutely,
next year, Berkeley.
Yeah.
We have to watch Berkeley.
Yes.
I mean, Berkeley's going to be a team that, if they have a rebirth of the Renaissance, which they're more than capable in this division, considering that, you look at do I think Berkeley's a top team in the division right now? I think they're a middle of the pack team right now. When I look at it, because I think Oxford's better than them. I think Pontiac's better than them. I think Ferndale's better than them. I mean, maybe they're the 4th place, maybe 5th place team. I think they're about just as even as Royal Oak. Royal Oak's another one I'm watching carefully too, because Aaron Smith's defense. I think Royal Oak should be better.
Do you think it might be just a 3-team race?
I think it could be. I think Oxford and Pontiac are for sure.
1, 2, maybe?
I think Oxford, Pontiac for sure. But Seaholm, Hazel Park, Berkeley. Seaholm, Royal Oak. Seaholm, Ferndale, Royal Oak, and Berkeley are teams to watch.
Okay.
Those are going to be the teams to watch. But I think clearly right now, the top 2, obviously right now, are Pontiac and Oxford. I think that Pontiac, enough athleticism on that team. They got the Brown brothers back. No, they got the Cole brothers back. I think they're going to do some damage next year.
Okay.
But those are the 2 teams I'm watching, is Pontiac and Oxford.
All right.
Let's go to the white division. In this division, you have
How many teams?
I believe there's 8. Yep, 8.
Okay.
So you have South Arts and Tech, Troy Athens, Adams, Rochester, Stony Creek, Avondale, Farmington, and Groves. So when I look at South Arts and Tech comes down from the red division, and then you look at Rochester and Farmington both come up from the blue to this division. So when you look at this division, and what really gets me interesting is there's 3 teams in this division that are named Falcons. 3 of them.
I didn't even realize that.
Yep, and you look at then you look at Farmington, Groves, and Rochester. All 3 of them are named Falcons.
Yep.
Then you have Troy Athens, who is a Red Hawk. It's the Red Hawks. So when you look at this division, I think looking at Adams, they're young, of course, led by the reigning 3-point champion in Ethan Emerson. He did really well in the 3-point competition there.
That's always an asset, isn't it?
It
Having
always
a
is.
reliable 3-point guy.
Oh, it always is. For
Unbelievable.
Coach Brad Crichton's team. And Brad Crichton's team was so young last year.
Yeah.
They were very young. Of course, they were out. They had that 0-21 season 2 years ago, and now last season they had a really nice year, bounce back.
That's a great story.
With the young team,
Great story.
Really great story for Adams. Really great for them. But you know what kind of benefits? And I think if I'm the Rochester school superintendent right now, I'm really happy about this because you have all 3 Rochester schools
in the same division.
each playing each other twice. When you look at Stony,
That's pretty cool. It's has it been a while since they were all?
It's been a while since all 3 teams been together. It really
good.
has.
And now you know that every game you play, it's a divisional game.
Divisional
it
game,
means
you're gonna get
something.
it's gonna mean something. It's gonna mean a lot of people are gonna be coming out
Yeah.
to those games.
That's cool. I'm glad you brought that up. That's a great little tip.
Oh yeah,
That's
great.
awesome.
I mean, so when I look at Adams, I think in the city of Rochester, I think the best team right now is Adams with how
Really?
young they are. They won a district championship.
Yep.
Of course, they got the future there is bright. I mean, you got players like both Emerson brothers. You have a Peyton Prescourt on that team.
Yeah.
You got Austin Yearsay if he comes out and plays, depending on the injury. But Adams right now is a team that they're a team built for the future, built not only for the now, for the future, but also for the present.
Yeah.
And then you look at the second best team, obviously, I think is Stony Creek, in that Rochester, the city of Rochester. Not in the whole division, but Stony Creek's a team I think that could be really interesting. When you look at, of course, you have Kevin Beers on that team. They got another sophomore who's very good. But they've got to address. They lose key players, of course. Mike Melnegri never had during most of the year, out with an injury. But then you lose Nate Davis. That's going to be a huge loss there. Along with Jericho Bar-Redmond. That's another huge loss for them. But then Rochester, they lose a ton. When you look at Hunter Stadler, LaMarco Gulich, I mean, they're still going to have Corey Gulich there and Drake Reed there. But when I look at Rochester,
Is that most of their scoring?
that's most of the scoring, Shatler and Gulich. So it's going to be very interesting. But when I look at the division, obviously you got Adams in there. You got Avondale, who I think is going to be really good, even though they lost Martin Cole, who's graduated. But then of course you have South Arts and Tech, who has the bulk of their team coming back, led of course by Cameron McEvans.
Okay.
And then of course you have a team I think that could be a dark horse team is Farmington.
Really?
And the reason why is because you have Tyron Humes and Jared Atkins. Those 2 guys are expected to have big years this next year for Terrence Porter's team. But when I look at Farmington, they don't really have that true big guy in the middle. And that could be a problem.
Yeah.
That could be a serious
Anytime
problem.
you're missing a center of some sort, some inside presence, that can be
It can
They
be
can be
really
trouble.
hard. Despite
especially
the
if you run into teams in your division that have those dudes.
And of course, you look at that's a team that I think is a scary team, despite the fact that they lose Ray Bryant. But Farmington's a team that if they find a key interior guy in the middle, I think they're going to be fine. But when I look at this division right now,
Clear favorite?
the clear favorite has to be Adams. I mean, now, yeah, Troy Athens lost to everybody, too, as well. We mentioned that. And, of course, Groves is, of course, we know they're young. So when I look at my clear favorites, the red division is Adams, followed by Avondale, South Anderson Tech, Farmington. And then you have Stony Creek. Then you have Groves. I mean, they have Troy Athens, then Rochester, then Groves. Those are my teams right now.
Okay.
My early projects. They're way too early. Let's go to the last division, which is the red division. Now, in this division, you have Clarkston, West Bloomfield, Troy, North Farmington, Bloomfield Hills, Oak Park, and Lake Orion. So this is a very interesting division when you look
Now,
at
Lake
it.
Orion moving up.
Yes, Lake Orion comes up 2 divisions from the blue to the red. Oak Park won the white, moved up the white. So
Do you think that was warranted for Lake Orion?
You know, this Lake Orion's got an experienced team come back.
Yeah.
When you look at guys like Nate Talbot, you look at Kyle Loken, Jake Rockquist.
You think they looked at the record and said, okay, boom, jump 2.
I think Lake Orion's going to compete in this division. I really do.
Okay.
I think that they could be a player in this division. I wrote them as my dark horse team.
Oh boy.
They could do some significant damage. Now, Clarkson's a very young team, of course, but they still got talent.
Yeah,
they still got some talent when you look at guys like Matt Nicholson, Colt Donchez. Of course, you have the younger lawyer
coming in,
and you have a younger Wasilla coming in. So, Clarkson's going to be a little bit young. They're still talented, but they're very young. West Bloomfield's got a lot of athleticism. Of course, when you look at guys like Trey Harvey on that team, you look at a guy like Donovan Moore who's there. I mean, like, West Bloomfield's a team that they're guard heavy, but they're quick and athletic. But I think the best team in this division is Oak Park.
Yeah.
And Malik Carr is the real deal. He is phenomenal. He is a really good athlete, really good, talented player. I mean, when you look at Oak Park, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. Oak Park's favorite. It really wouldn't.
Yeah.
Troy, of course, is going to be very young. They got Brody Parker there. North Farmington, we know, is a mess. And Bloomfield Hills could be down this year. They could be really down. I mean, North Farmington, in my opinion, the reason why I think they're a mess is because, they lost. They just couldn't score last year. They couldn't score. And, very interesting for them. So we'll see what happens there.
And after going through all those names, it's still weird to not hear Harrison.
Harrison's in the blue.
Blue?
They're in the blue. Harrison, they got Linton back. They got Eddie Linton back. Their final year as a school, so that'll be very interesting to see. Now, they don't have a girls team.
I mean, but with being down in the blue, I don't mean to hijack your red. I don't know. It's tough to say that this is it.
It is.
That program.
It's odd. And they're going to be, the building's going to be
It just hit me. I know, it just kind of hit me.
The building's going to be a community center now.
Yeah.
It's going to be very interesting to see. So, my favorite in the red is Oak Park.
Oak Park.
Followed by, I would say right now, West Bloomfield.
Yeah.
I mean, West Bloomfield, Clarkston right now, based on playing experience in the red division, right now, a little ahead of Lake Orion, despite the fact Lake Orion's got a ton of experience coming back.
Yep.
But if Lake Orion it wouldn't surprise me if Lake Orion jumps those two teams. I don't know if they're going to jump Oak Park. I really don't. So it'll be really interesting to see what happens going forward and then, of course, it'll be followed by Troy, then North Farmington, then Bloomfield Hills. You know what I mean? So those are my teams I'm keeping an eye on.
It's going to be fun.
It'll be fun.
It's always interesting when they reshuffle them. It's tough to get. I know they do crossovers and everything like that, so you can keep your rivalries. But it's so difficult it's such a moving target to try to win a division. Especially if you start winning, you start doing well, like boom, you're moved.
Yep.
And it changes the landscape.
Yep. It's what it is. The landscape has officially changed to start the year now.
Always moving.
Okay, now when we come back, we're going to preview the Oxford Invitational coming up this weekend here on Oaa Now.
This is Lake Orion's own, the local voice. Call ONTV and get on air 248-393-1060. Let your voice be heard. Internet radio for all. Call ONTV and get on air.
Welcome back to Oaa Now. I'm Sammy Termina here with Ian Locke here.
Hey.
Yep. I mean, we're gonna preview this weekend's Oxford Invitational. That's a huge tournament now. Of course,
Before you jump in, how crazy is this? I know we're going back to the weather. It's kind of the theme of the show.
Yep. Always has.
It's impacting this track season like I've never seen.
It has. It really has.
How many meets have been altered, changed? I mean, Lake Orion was playing in the Tri-County. Is that what it was called?
Yep.
Invitational.
Yep.
And that was moved from a Saturday to a Friday.
Yep.
Still cold and rainy.
Yep.
And I believe Lake Orion won.
Both
men and women took home the titles at that. But then Clarkston had a meet scheduled for that Friday. That was canceled.
Yep.
It's just bizarre. And we're looking for results, right? Usually going in the Oxford Invitational, which I just love this event.
It's an interesting invitational because when you look at
everybody.
There's a lot of powerhouse teams here.
Absolutely.
I mean, you look at Oak Park's here.
Yep.
You look at Lake Orion's here. You
Yep.
look at Oxford, of course. You look at
Troy's coming.
I mean, like
Kettering.
You know,
I don't see Waterford Mott.
I don't know if Waterford Mott's coming there. I don't really don't know.
Mott.
I mean, but when you look at previewing the teams that are here, I mean, and then you have teams from Illinois and Ohio coming.
Chicago, Kentwood.
Really interesting that they're coming. Now I was a little surprised that Oxford would bring teams from Illinois to this invitational.
They did last year too.
They did last year.
Yeah, it was. The rumor was that the team from Chicago that rolled up I-94 was looking to go against Oak Park.
Mm-hmm.
They specifically signed up to and petitioned to get into this invitational because they wanted to go against Oak Park head to head. And what happened? Other teams in the OAA smoked them.
Right.
So they were on, hey, Oak Park's the king. And go, well, yeah, but there's other talent rolling around here.
And the OAA, when you look at teams like Clarkson, Lake Orion,
and
you look at
specific athletes
Adams,
too.
Adams, Stony Creek, there are a ton of teams in the OAA that could give people fits.
On the men's and women's side.
Mm-hmm.
And Oak Park won it close on the women's side. I mean, Lake Orion women were number 2 last year by just a couple points. I want to say 2 or 3 points.
Mm-hmm.
And it came down to like an event, just one event. And but that team from Chicago kind of had their eyes open going, there's more in Oak Park up here. There's OA and this, not just OA, but around Oakland County, tough competition.
Really good, tough competition. So I'm going to pick your head here.
Sure.
If you have to have a favorite in the Oxford Invitational, who would it be starting with the boys?
Boys are not my forte.
No.
As you know.
But if you had to do a favor.
I don't know. Oak Park's always tough.
Mm-hmm.
But Lake Orion's looking pretty dang good.
But you look at Oxford.
Oxford's looking pretty dang good.
And then you put Oxford in this tournament format, this is dangerous.
Well, yeah, and that's something else, too, that I have to get out of the dual meet mindset because Lake Orion did handle Oxford pretty handily.
Mm-hmm.
And on the women's side, too. But, when you have specific, I like the throws. They're strong in the throws. The field events, they're very good. So that's big-time points. I mean, 1 and 2 in the Invitational can swing a whole host of things down the line as the running events begin. They also very strong in the distance, Oxford.
Mm-hmm.
They got 1 or 2 guys that could take any event. But there's challengers coming. I'm not saying it's a given Oxford, but Oxford has a chance. Oak Park has a chance. I think Lake Orion has an outside chance. But, it's going to be close again.
Any team worth keeping an eye on that could be a dark horse besides those 3?
Ooh, dark horse. On the guy's side.
Yep.
Ooh, not knowing who was lost on the guy's side. Because last year, maybe Adams was making some noise because of their strength of their distance.
Mm-hmm.
But this year, with the loss of so many guys on their side of things, I don't know really who might be the dark horse. Maybe. And having so few results to even look at and analyze, we have nothing, no times, no results to go, who's here, who's the new guys? It's like a mystery.
Let's go to the girls' side now.
Do you have a favorite?
Me?
Yeah, anything?
I'm leaning Oak Park, but Oxford's a team to keep an eye on for sure.
Yeah. Holly's dangerous, too.
Dangerous as well.
We saw a little bit of Holly in action at that Tri-County meet, and they were they were putting some numbers up. So Holly might make
Holly
surprise
can
some
make some
people.
noise. Yep. Let's go to the girls. Do you think Oak Park could get dethroned this weekend?
It came close last year.
It did last
It
year.
was very, very close. Lake Orion made a push that even surprised, I think, the Lake Orion fans.
Mm-hmm.
Because of their depth. They have 3 athletes. At least last year they had 4 athletes in the throw. They had 1 in the throws. You got the hurdles that are strong. You got the pole vault. You got the high jump and the long jump with Colleen Campbell out of Lake Orion.
Yep.
And you got just a handful of those. It's almost like a Oak Park situation.
Yeah.
Oak Park has like 5 or 6 really ridiculous athletes.
We talked about this last week
Yeah.
at Oak Park. If you're not balanced in this league, you ain't going to win.
No, you're toast.
And basically, that's what I think of Oak Park right now. They are not a balanced team. And
True.
I think they get dethroned this
You
weekend.
think so?
I think they get dethroned this weekend.
Even on the women's side, let's say, I mean, all of the runners for Lake Orion that are, now juniors and seniors and the field, they're stronger. They're going faster.
Mm-hmm.
But they lost a lot of points in the throws with Eaton going to Western. I mean, you can't discount that. That's 2 first place or at least 2/3. I don't think she didn't win them both.
But if you get certain points in the throws, you know what I mean? I think that's something. I think you got a lot of faith in this team.
We do. The Dragons I got some up and comers.
But if there's a team that I think can be a dark horse, watch out for Troy.
Troy, it goes back to the stable of distance runners.
Yep.
I mean, it's stupid deep.
But they get questions their distance, or sprinting.
Who don't I
Questions
see in
are
here?
sprinting.
Do I not see Clarkston?
Clarkson's, I think, going to a different. I think they're going to Lakeland. I think this week.
Oh, they went to Jackson. I think they went to Jackson last year too.
Yeah, I think so too.
All right. I love this event though. It's fun. I experienced my first one last year, and
a lot of competition there.
Oh, and it's all over the map. This is like dual meet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have the I'm not going to say the fringe athletes on the team. Like you have your superstars, then you have your number 2s, your number 3s.
Right.
In dual meets, your number 4s can actually and 5s can compete depending how the meet falls before them.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a showcase of your top guys and girls, and if they're performing on top of things, they can. It only takes a handful of athletes to take home the W.
Right.
It takes the championship. So
right. So when I look at
Exciting and fun.
when I look at girls,
Yeah.
I still think people say Oak Park's still favored. A lot of people are going to say that, but I don't trust their coach Giles' balance. I really don't trust their balance.
Yeah.
I mean,
but the crazy thing about Oak Park is what we saw. Like, I think that was the thought last year as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what we saw at Oak Park on the ladies' side is they threw middle distance into the distance races, or they threw 400 runners into an 800. They threw them into the mile, and they performed really, really well. And then you have sprinters going into the 4x8, or they just mix it up, and you're like, okay, this isn't going to work, but it did for them.
It did for them, but sometimes Lady Luck runs out.
It does, but I'd say until I see it.
Yeah, like it always is. It always happens. Sometimes Lady Luck always runs itself out.
Now I was hoping to have here on the site, we always see the postings of who's coming. Romeo's coming. They're no slouch.
Yeah, they're a good thrower. Program power.
Yep, and distance program is very good.
Yep.
And usually they have a mock meet. You could actually do a demo meet.
Right.
Based on times that are posted. There are so few events that have taken place because of this stupid weather.
Because it's weather.
So now it's going in mystery.
Yep.
The mystery.
Yep. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens. We'll see what happens this week. What are your final thoughts this week for track?
Well, track. Yeah. Okay. We are a Lake Orion thing, so we're going to talk Lake Orion a little bit.
But also baseball. Of course, I read baseball. Detroit News Top 10. I was surprised Rochester's on there.
Really?
And they got a lot back. I
was out at the, like I said, Oxford Lake Orion dual meet, and I saw the Lake Orion baseball team in action against Romeo. I believe that was their first game of the season, and
they did win that game 12-2,
okay.
But they ended up losing the Warren D. LaSalle 7-2.
Okay.
Warren D. LaSalle's a very good team.
Yeah. So, I mean, they got their good win, but it was freezing, man. It was so cold and brutal. And, the only dual meet I know of that took place that week, I could be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, was the Lake Orion Oxford one. There might have been one other. But there's some exciting races in that one, good performances. And so, Oxford's track team just kind of limping along there on the girls' side, but the guys looked really good.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a nice competition. So
really interesting how that unfolded.
I'm excited to see softball too.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting. I think anybody can do Jerome Clarkson.
No,
even though Lake Orion and Oxford might have what you say about that.
Well, it comes down to
Maybe
pitching.
Troy.
We got to see what the pitching is like with some of these, and who's their number one ace, and how they handle themselves, and who's the big stick.
Yep. So we'll see what happens.
Yep, it's gonna be fun. We'll have results of those. ONTV cameras will be out and about, weather permitting.
Weather permitting, yes. So we'll see what happens going forward there. Okay, all right, we're gonna sign it off here this week. Everybody, thoughts and prayers to those who lost power. South of 59.
Stay warm.
Stay warm. Stay warm. So once again this week, I'm Sammy here signing on off here. Take care. Enjoy the week, everybody. Take care and see you later.
See you, Sam. Oaa Now is produced by Sammy Taramina and ONTV. All views on this show are Sam's and his alone. If you'd like to make your own podcast, give us a call at 248-393-1060. Classes are now enrolling. Orion residents just pay $25 for a 2-day class. Make your own podcast. Get on the air. That's all for us today at Oaa Now. See ya.